It's a big win for Newcastle, 4-1 victors over Chelsea at St James's Park. It was an even first half, and I felt that both Newcastle had a bit more of the ball, completed more passes, but I felt both teams created really good opportunities, had good chances. They both had goals on the goal scored, and you thought to yourself, this could be a very intriguing neck-to-neck, and maybe even a close second half. But in actual reality, Newcastle United were sublime in the second half, dominant. They showed a maturity over Chelsea, and the substitutions and the tactical changes all made by Eddie Howe were absolutely top class. When you look at the injury problems that Newcastle have got, the pressure they face over these next 10 to 14 days with big Champions League games, big Premier League games as well. It was an absolute demolition job. Chelsea were destroyed, and they were humbled today by Newcastle United. Make absolutely no mistake about it. An immature performance from Chelsea, petulance from many of their players. Reece James, the captain, booked for kicking the ball away, and then a really poor piece of skill. A stupid drag down of Anthony Gordon essentially ended the contest. It was already 3-1, but it ended the contest because there was nowhere to go from there. And there was a number of petulant fouls that came after this. And I think, look, Chelsea were very good in large parts against Manchester City. But the area that was maybe a little bit of a concern for many of their fans was around the number of goals that they conceded. But the feeling was, well, maybe that's because, it's Manchester City as an example, but 4 more shipped today is obviously not a good look in any way, any shape or any form for them. A team that has been very, very hard to penetrate. If we call it right, been very hard to penetrate and have been very hard to score against in recent weeks. They just have been. So it's going to be a very disappointing day today, no doubt about it whatsoever, for Chelsea Football Club. But what a brilliant day it is and will be for the fans of Newcastle. What a fantastic performance. Some great individual displays. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to amend the thumbnail as I'm talking to you all. So I'm kind of multitasking here. So if you feel like you haven't got my full attention, you have. I'm just doing 2 or 3 things at once. I missed the S out of Newcastle on the thumbnail, and I want to add it in while I'm live because I'm a little bit of an anorak for stuff like that. Once I notice it, I need to get it changed. But when I look at Newcastle, I think to myself, what a mature, strong and dominant performance they put in today. And I'm looking at a list of their players that I thought about after this game. Anthony Gordon, this big money signing, he came with a lot of pressure because of the way he left Everton when they were in the mire, was absolutely phenomenal today. And that was up against, by the way, one of the best right backs in European football, in my opinion, in Reece James. Isak again up front. I always remember getting into eye test. He used to phone into the show that said he was better than Erling Haaland. Now, I don't believe that to be the case, but Alexander Isak is a top football player, not just a good striker, but a very good football player indeed. Joe Linton got his goal. I thought another tremendous performance from him in the middle. Looking at the back line with the Kieran Trippiers, Lascelles, who's kind of having a bit of a renaissance in his career at the back, doing very, very well indeed. Livramento, who spent 12 years at Chelsea, playing on the left-hand side, not his preferred right, and still being dominant and absolutely brilliant. But the pick of the bunch, Almiron did well, but the pick of the bunch for me was young. I don't know who he is because I don't follow the Newcastle Academy players. But this young Millie, I think his name is, 17 years of age, up against the likes of Enzo, up against the likes of Gallagher, Sterling, Palmer, players who are young as well, a lot of them. Not Sterling, of course, but still experienced World Cups they've played at. This is a 17-year-old, I believe, and Steve will definitely know backstage, Strasbourg Steve, making his Premier League debut, or at least making his first Premier League start, potentially. I don't know, but I thought he was excellent. I thought he was excellent today. So, yeah, from my point of view, it was an absolutely fantastic Newcastle performance. And Chelsea, look, there'll be some medicine to take after this. There's going to be a lot of wounds to lick because it isn't just losing, it's getting absolutely destroyed. The mistake from Silva, the mistake from Reece James for his red card. I thought that Leslie was a little bit too deep for the first goal. Cucurella, poor defending from him on the first goal. So lots of individual mistakes, lots of problems for them today. Gallagher, and it's interesting because a lot of people have raved about Gallagher this year, and he has been good, but I implore Chelsea fans to not get hyped up about a good few weeks, a good few months. We get it we used to get at Man United every year. You'd have 2 months where Fred was amazing. Every season you get a 2-month period where McTominay looks good. This man isn't consistent. I did think it was a mistake today not starting Caicedo. I know he's traveled, etc. Think he should have started this game. Had to start, had to play. Joel Linton traveled. He started. Bruno Guimaraes, was he away with Brazil? I'm not too sure, but you know, at the end of the day, I know Joel Linton was, and he started the game. It's surprising to me that he didn't. So there were some mistakes from Poch and obviously the management team picking this side today. Lots of individual errors from Chelsea players today, but overall a really disjointed and immature performance from Chelsea today. It really, Bruno started. There we go. Some saying yes, some saying no. Some saying Bruno started. I didn't look at the game. He was in Brazil. There we go. So they've started Bruno Guimaraes, and this is the thing. Do you know what I like about what Newcastle have done today? I don't want to hear Jurgen Klopp, and I don't want to hear anyone moan when their South American players play late on a Wednesday and fly back on the Thursday. Oh, I can't play them on the Saturday. Newcastle have just played them. They put in a barnstorming, top-class performance on the 3 p.m. kickoff against Chelsea. Everyone can do it. If you start saying you can't and their legs are tired, I've got to leave them on the bench, you're planting seeds of doubt. And I always believe that is the wrong way to go. Let's look at some of your super chats here. First one said, we handed Newcastle the game on the plate. Yeah, I want to take nothing away from Newcastle. I think they were excellent, and I think they were value for their win today. But the naivety and the mistakes from Chelsea, and I don't necessarily feel they were all unforced. I feel like some of them were unforced errors as well. Badiashil and Cucu never play for my club again. Again, I didn't. Of all your defenders today, none of them were good. But I thought Badiashil was the best, but maybe that's just me. This loss was down to individual errors, not Poch. Interesting take there. Other Chelsea fans, do you agree with this? Egal really never gets it wrong. Come on, you Gooners. Listen, Egal said Chelsea would struggle today, and he was absolutely spot on with what he said. I thought Chelsea were going to win. I really felt Chelsea would go there and win. I thought it would be competitive. I predicted 3-2. I knew there'd be goals in this game, but 4-1. I've got one thing I got right. There was 5 goals. I knew there'd be goals in this game. I didn't expect it to be an absolute destruction job and a humbling of Chelsea. Mama Flossie here. Hope you're well. 27 months a member. Thank you so much. Says here, the Toonami is marching. Does that mean away the lads? I'm assuming HW means away the lads. I'm assuming that's what it means. I'm just trying to think, what is it that Newcastle fans say? The Premier League needs to relegate us ASAP. Scarlett, you can't seriously want your club relegated. 1 win in 5 for Chelsea. Turning the corner is what O'Malley says here. But this is exactly what Don says. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet. Check out the squad on Rumble. Another trending video on there today. Thanks to all of you. Don spoke about that. Comes out every Saturday morning on Rumble. So make sure you guys are checking that out. The squad is what it's called. If you're not watching it already, what the hell are you guys doing? But Don said on there, we need to win almost to cement some of these good performances as of late. But they haven't. They've been battered. And it almost feels, you look at that league table, 10th after 13 games, 16 points on the board. To put that into context, like Man United have been shocking this season. If we were to beat Everton tomorrow, we go on to 24 points, which is 8 in front of you, which means you're closer when you scroll down to Luton in 17th than you are Manchester United. And that's because you've got to finish these games off. Just 4 wins this season. Results-wise, it's not good enough. Performances, there've been some good ones. But results matter as well. It's getting that combination. After celebrating a 2-2 and a 4-4 win versus Arsenal and Chelsea City, respectively, now Chelsea can celebrate their 4-1 draw at Newcastle United, is what Taran has got to say. And Nav says, we always struggle at Newcastle. Listen, Newcastle United is a very tough place to go and play football. It's a very hard place to go. I do believe, though, with the injuries they've got, big teams that have spent lots of money that have thick squads should be looking to go there and win. Should be looking to go there and exploit that. But credit has to be given to Eddie Howe, not just for winning the game, because that's a very basic thing to say. It's the way he's rotated. It shows you that he has got a system that has been instilled, that the players believe in everything he's doing, and that when you bring in Lascelles, when you put Livramento at left back, as an example, when a young 17-year-old comes into the midfield because of suspensions and injuries, when you've got a bench that's got debutants on it, when you've got to have Dummett and Ritchie back on your bench because of injuries, to be able to keep your team, the one thing they've got that's great, there's loads of good things, but the one great thing that I respect about this Newcastle team is they keep their shape. And if you keep your shape, no matter how talented your team is, you're hard to beat. And at home especially, being hard to beat is key. And that is all about hard work, and that is all about staying in shape. If you get players that come in and go, oh, I'm not good enough, or they don't run hard enough, or whatever else it is, all you're going to end up with is a team that falls apart. It's as simple and straightforward as that. We play them 2 more times. We'll kick them out of the cup as well. Horrible game is what Prez says here. Mike, who's a Chelsea fan, says terrible from Chelsea. Newcastle deserved the win. I was more nervous about the game than against City, especially after the international break. I'd love to know why you were more nervous. I'd love you to explain that to me, genuinely. Our players' mentality is shit, so I expected 10 plus. What an L is what Dyke says here. Banter on the pit says Chelsea has a couple of seasons before they can compete. Would love to be on the panel one of these days from Austin, Texas. Yeah, we can arrange that, my friend. Reach out to KJ. We can definitely arrange it. Panels coming now, though, to have their say. I'm really intrigued to know. So we've got D-Man and we've got Steve back in Newcastle. We've got Alex, Ches, and David. I'm not too sure where Don is. I don't know where Don is, people. He might just appear as I say that. He sometimes waits for the panel. A lot of you are asking for Don. I'm not too sure where he is right now. Let's bring the panel out onto the show. There. So, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all well. Congrats to Newcastle. Commiserations, Chelsea. And I want to go to David first. An absolute drumming tonight, mate. A drumming.
Yeah, they're just better than us, aren't they? There's not much more to say about it. Like, they were just really good today, and we just went up for it. I would love to give you more analysis than that, but they were just better than us in every department. So not really much we can do about it. Just got to focus on it.
Is it not disappointing? Sorry, go on.
Expecting consistency from this team, you're stupid, quite frankly. Like, there's too many new parts for it to be like working in the same way.
That's
game after game after game. Like, of course, it's great to have good games against Liverpool and against City and Spurs, but that's not the standard. Like, that's not what you're going to get every game. So it is what it is.
Is it not disappointing after what was, scoring 4 goals against City, some of the, beating Tottenham, to go there and just be so impotent in that second half?
Yeah, it's disappointing, but I expect it. This is the issue. Like, me personally, I don't think like Jackson is someone who can lead a line on his own right now. He's just not at that stage in his career. Like,
that's the least of your problems today, though. Because what was he given to? What ammunition was he given to load the tank? Like,
no, but I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah, he wasn't a problem today, though.
Me personally, I don't think Conor Gallagher should be in this team. He's just not good enough.
Especially as a right winger.
Again, and also to me, it doesn't make sense to move Cole Palmer out of the position he's been playing quite well in for the past 3 or 4 games to fit this guy. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Like, again, Benoit Badiashile, like, it's great to bring him back in, but you kind of had something going with the way with Colwill and Thiago Silva. You don't really want to keep swapping your back 4 very often. I get he's come back from injury, but it's quite a big change to make. It's just loads. There are so many players, and they're all still trying to get used to each other. So like,
Yeah.
there's so many things you can pick at as to why Chelsea aren't performing the way they should be.
What did you make of it, Ches? Obviously, you were in a sort of jubilant mood 2 weeks ago after the City performance and the draw. As you say, Palmer moved out of a position that he's been good in. Caicedo on the bench. Mistakes from so many of your experienced players as well today. What went wrong in your opinion?
Oh, good ball.
Yeah, it's similar to what David said. To be honest, it's just the inconsistencies. So today you can't really pick out one thing that I haven't seen before. Like I've seen this all before. The whole, it's why we're 10th. So I've seen this kind of performances before where individual errors, strikers who have opportunities even when we do score, don't take it. Then we go 2 goals behind. Defenders being weak, midfielders not really know where to be in the right areas, attackers not taking their chances when it comes to them, even if few far between. So today was just an amalgamation of what I've seen throughout the last how many games of the seasons. That's why I'm not going to have a different reaction. David's probably going to be the same reaction. Don's going to be disappointed. It's the same, really, isn't it? Like, I can't really sit here and give you anything new. And no one could say, oh, like, are you not disappointed you lost? Not really. Like, I kind of knew we were going to lose. I said 1-1 optimistically, thinking we might get a draw. But everyone's saying Newcastle had a million injuries. It was going to be a depleted squad. They should focus in Champions League. But such lack of ball knowledge. You're never going to sit back against Chelsea, regardless of how good form we're in recently. And like you said earlier, Terry, it's about wins. Sometimes performances don't matter if you don't get the wins. And the reason why we're 10th is because no one can finish. And we're not clinical throughout the whole areas of the pitch. Defenders aren't doing their job. Midfielders aren't in the right positions. The attackers aren't clinical. Even today, for example, yeah, I think it was 1-1. And Jackson had an opportunity to like hit a far post, right? Let's say he shoots that and it goes in under the goalkeeper's arms. Now we're in the lead, even though we don't deserve it. And so now we can change our style of play and adapt to the game and get something out of the game. But instead, what does he do? He cuts back, the ball goes off, Sterling makes a bad decision, it's 2-1. And the whole game just flips. And football is not always about like the majority of the better team always wins. Sometimes about taking your chances. And Newcastle today, they won't even say they play that great, expansive, great. They were just clinical when they need to be. And they dominated in the areas which like matter in terms of the game, the matters of the game, right? In terms of decision making. So it's just moving forward, kind of these might want to chime in, is that it's tough because we won't get our mid-table if we don't get results. So even if we perform well against Brighton and we draw, I won't be sitting here like, yeah. I'll be pissed.
I hear you. Alex, do you echo there what Ches has said?
We have one issue with one certain things. Like I have an issue with the different. It's kind of like end up the same issue at the end. But my problem is with issue that makes that issue. How do you make the players more confident and more click with each other? By playing the same team all the time. The big managers like the small teams for one reason, because they make them gel together. I don't care. Like I usually don't criticize the starting 11. But if you're telling me that nothing is wrong with Caicedo and you don't start him because, he flew private jet, I'm sorry. Rest 2 players from Newcastle flew the same private jet. What's his name? Enzo Fernandez played against Brazil, against 2 players at Newcastle. They played the same game against each other. I'm asking Poch. I'm thinking actually, Pochettino, what the hell? Every time we get something rolling, he has to stick his nose in and kind of like, you know what? Let me see what I can do. Why Palmer is not playing where Palmer played? Why Gallagher played in the right wing? This stats in Pochettino's head has to come from something. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm mad. Individual players, yes, I can criticize them all the time, but it's the stats that makes that thing not work in the future, because every time we play well, all of a sudden something needs to be disturbed. That's my problem with this game. It's not like Newcastle was brilliant today. They're brilliant at finishing, but they give us a chance the same that we giving them a chances. Only problem is when Gallagher got the ball, he didn't finish. Joelinton did. Oh, by the way, he flew from Brazil. His legs were not tired. You see what I'm saying? So that's my problem with the thing. At the end, we're at the same. I'm at the same as David and the other guy. I just don't know. You going based on players, your criticism. I'm going beyond that. I'm going. Why you sticking your nose where? Like why? That's my problem with Pochettino. At it, if we're gonna go individually, yes, there's annoying parts of it, like what's his name, like the way that midfield, like some players are getting out of 50-50. Gallagher going out of 50-50 challenge. What the hell?
He was shocking today, by the way. Shocking.
There's no John Terry in this team. Those little bitty yellow cards that James got, Cucurella got, Jackson got, those yellow cards are annoying as crap. Why are you kicking the ball? When you're kicking the ball out for too long, that means that you're not ready to fight. That means that you're going into defensive mode. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cuss on you. That means you're pussy.
Listen, I get the frustration with that. Don, you said on the Squad Breakfast show that this was a must-win for Chelsea. You ended up being slapped up 4-1.
Yep.
Poor starting lineup, according to many Chelsea fans. Immature second half. Like, give me your thoughts and feelings on why it went wrong today.
Bro, Newcastle wanted it more than our players. You know, I don't know what it is about every single person on this pitch today. Like individually, we just didn't look up for it, man, at all. And again, I'm not knocking Newcastle. I think, like I said in the preview, Terry, I said Newcastle. It doesn't matter if they're missing all these players. They're going to be well drilled. They're going to know exactly what each player needs to be doing, right? I wasn't taking them lightly. I said it wasn't going to be an easy game, but I expected us to have the quality to beat Newcastle's B team or C team or whatever the team is going to put out. But honestly, bro, like from everything, the second balls, they were winning it all. You know, in that first half, their attacking threat was a lot more than ours. Like Alex has said there as well, like in front of goal, they were more clinical than us. It was just a shit show. It was an absolute shit show. There isn't, like, I'll probably say in the first half, I'm only looking really at Enzo. Like, he was the only one that was looking like he was trying to make something happen. The rest of the team, bro, was bad. And like Ches has been saying, bro, like individually, the goals that we conceded today, terrible defended. Badiashile, I love Badiashile. He was poor today. Every single time he kept picking up the ball from the back, trying to build up from the back. He kept giving it straight back to Newcastle. You know, we struggled to build up from the back. We didn't really stretch the pitch enough. Palmer was poor today. You guys know how much I love Palmer. He was poor today. Gallagher, one of his worst performances this season. That reminded me of Gallagher from last year. Do you know what I mean? So we just weren't up for it today. I don't know whether it was the fact that Poch made a few changes. I get Alex's frustration, but I do understand why Poch didn't want to risk Caicedo because he literally just got back yesterday. I think from international duties.
When did the other Brazilians and Argentinians got? By the way, whoever
I don't care about them. They don't play for my club.
Zero in geography. If you think that we're not flying from the same continent, you go back to school.
Yeah, no, Alex. On that though,
every player is different.
But Don, Caicedo,
what is Egal doing here?
Alex,
Your game is next. Come back later.
Let me just say something quickly. Caicedo not starting is not the reason why we lost 4-1 today, bro.
Yeah, it's not. It's
not.
not.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, it doesn't really make a difference to me whether Caicedo started or not.
Yeah, it's not. And
the whole team was poor, and the reason why it's on Caicedo starting, why we lost the game and could have got a draw, is because we've seen the same game with different players this whole season. So it's nothing to do with the individuals; it's just the overall setup. And I do agree, teams need to gel, and you need synergy and chemistry in the team. So I get that, but you don't always get a luxury because of injuries or whatever. But at the same time, the style of play today wasn't here; it wasn't there. And like
I hear that.
We were struggling to do simple things like just building up, Terry. We were struggling. And what I was saying at halftime, I said, look, I need to see us stretch the pitch a lot more. I want to see Mudryk come on. I want to see Palmer being put centrally there. Because Gallagher was a mess today. We didn't need him.
Dan, I agree with you. Okay, let's say Caicedo is not, his private jet was delayed. His masseuse didn't show up on the private jet early enough for him to fly to England. Let's say that. But why Palmer dropped deep and Gallagher played right wing? I just want to know that.
They've done that pretty much every game that Palmer started on the right though. Like him and Gallagher always rotate. If you watch it closely, they always do that. So Palmer
Gallagher was more of the.
So Palmer can come on centrally.
I thought Gallagher was more of the guy centrally, because he's the one that initiates the press, right?
Yeah. So Gallagher stays central, and then him and Palmer alternate. So listen, it was a shit performance from everyone. No one turned up. Newcastle, they took their chances and they battered us. And Reece James, bro, what are you doing as a captain? What are you actually doing? Right? We were missing Reece James against Brighton now, and we're missing Cucurella as well for that game because he's now picked up his 5th yellow card. So it was a shit performance, shocking performance. I've got no excuses whatsoever, man.
I hear you. We are going to obviously talk Newcastle when Egal's joined us. You predicted this.
No, he didn't.
On the Top Pick show. Talk to me about what went wrong for Chelsea today and why Newcastle were able to smash them.
You want to know something? Everything was leaning towards, before the game, was leaning towards Chelsea was supposed to win this game. They were supposed to be the favorites going into this game. You got Newcastle had all these injuries. They just came off losing against Bournemouth. Chelsea had a great performance versus City, where they scored 4 goals. They drew against a top team. They had a win against Tottenham. They were going in the right direction. And then it was just written in the stars, I felt like. I always had a feeling that Newcastle were going to get something from this game. Yesterday, after speaking to Alex, I was like, you know what? Maybe Chelsea have more of a chance than I thought. He kind of convinced me. But then I was reassured by that performance in the second half. Because in the first half, you guys showed same old Chelsea where you couldn't finish your dinner. You had opportunities, in my opinion, where you could have capitalized, but you were unable to do that. And then in the second half, it was damage limitations. Once they scored the second goal, I knew you guys were never going to get back into this game. Then they scored the third. And I was like, you know what? This game is even more done. Then you get the red card. And it's just, at that point, it was just going to become an embarrassing scoreline. You're lucky you kept it to 4. But overall, I'm not surprised, Terry. This Chelsea team is very young. They have a lot of players that are inexperienced, and they're going to be ups and downs throughout their season, and you're not going to see consistency from them at all. The performance against the top teams, what I put it down to, my hypothesis has been proven right. It's when they play against the top teams, they're more up for it, and 2, there's more space. There's more opportunities to create chances. There's more opportunities to actually have more space against one-on-one defenders, where Newcastle today, even though they're not the team that plays the most defensive setup, they were more focused on making sure that they didn't make too many mistakes. And when they capitalized, they countered, and they're clinical with their finishing. You got to give them credit. But one more thing I'm going to say, Enzo Fernandez has to be the luckiest player in your team, because he's avoid of all criticism. He's a £100 million signing, doesn't get treated like one. He's a player who doesn't get you goals, doesn't get you assists, doesn't actually play make, doesn't do anything in your side, but yet it's still treated as if he's the best player in the world.
Okay. I was waiting for this.
Is that the guy who defends Havertz? Is that the guy who defends
after you speak?
This might not be the game to point him out. This might not be the game to point him out, but you have a £100 million player who you brought into your team and is unable to carry your side at all, unable to get you goals, unable to get you assists, unable to control your game against a Newcastle side that's physically dominant to you guys. And when it comes to what he does, guess what? He's a void of criticism. Your fans still say he's the best player, he's the best midfielder, he's the best this, he's the best that. But what does he actually do? He doesn't get you goals, he doesn't get you assists, he doesn't create, he doesn't play make, he doesn't defend. What is he good at? At the end of the day, he's this £100 million player you guys got, one of the best players in the midfield you guys sing every single week, but he's getting outperformed by Conor Gallagher, who you criticize every week.
Okay, so he doesn't do anything. Let me just read out a few stats from the end of the first half, because like I said earlier, Enzo was our best player. Enzo Fernandez registered more successful passes than anyone, more successful long balls than anyone, more successful interceptions. You just said he doesn't do anything defensively than anyone in that first half, right? So what are you actually watching? Because Enzo was actually good in that first half. Enzo was good in that first half. You're coming for the worst. You're coming from the worst person.
A follow up to that, David. One second. Egal. So was every single Chelsea player good today? And was Enzo the standout bad performer? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm putting him out.
So if your answer's no, pause. If your answer's no, why are you talking about Enzo Fernandez right now? Then?
Because this is my point.
Because of his price tag.
Because when you have a £100 million player, he's held to a different standard. He's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the level raiser. He's supposed to be the £100 million signing who comes into that midfield and helps you guys win these games, dominate these games, and pushes you to the next level. But guess what? Since he's come in, he has been unable to be that game changer for you guys. Conor
Egal, what's
Gallagher
his
is
role in
more
our
of a
team?
game changer for you guys week in, week out than he is. What is he? And he's a void of criticism. You
Well,
guys,
no.
avoid
Egal,
criticizing him.
Egal.
Enzo Fernandez has the best job in the Premier League. He doesn't get criticized by any of his players. He doesn't get he doesn't get blamed for any losses.
Egal, answer this.
He doesn't get blamed
Egal,
for
what's
anything.
Enzo's role?
He has the best job in the Premier League.
What's
Avoid
Enzo's
any
role in our
criticism
midfield?
by
No.
anybody.
What's Enzo's role in our midfield, Egal? You tell me what we bought Enzo for. What is his role in
No,
our midfield?
you tell me. You're a Chelsea fan.
No, because you said he doesn't do
told us
anything. So
rubbish.
you tell us what his role is. You tell us what his role is.
My point is, after every single loss, never do you guys ever criticize Enzo Fernandez and point out the fact that he is in
Can
your
I ask
midfield
him
for
something,
almost a
Dan?
year and has
Let me
not
go,
brought
Dan.
nothing to the
Dan,
table.
let me go.
Has win these games.
Hold on a
Wait,
second.
hold on.
This is-
Alex,
hold on.
before you come in, Alex, before you come in, hold on, Egal. First of all, you can't explain or describe what Enzo Fernandez his role in his team is. And second of all, you're coming here saying, oh, Enzo should be getting the blame for what? Jackson missing open goals. He should be getting the blame for Sterling missing multiple chances. He should get the blame for Gallagher missing open goals as well. Yeah, is that what you're trying to do? You're trying. What do you mean? Who's our best player?
Enzo was today. Look at the freaking rating today.
Enzo was our best player today, and we've all, as everyone here as a Chelsea fan collectively, have said Enzo's been below par, right? But it's very, very weird for you to try to pick out Enzo today because he was one of our better players today. Everyone was poor. Enzo was good today, in my opinion.
Did you hear the
especially
first
in
thing
that
I said
half.
that came out of my mouth? The reason why I brought it up is because how long are we going to say that Enzo Fernandez is the best midfielder in the world? He does this, he does that.
I wanna say
overall,
Who's saying that, though? I don't
Hold on.
get
he's not even the best midfielder at your club.
This
Is Kardashian. This is a typical move of Kardashian, moving from chick to chick. You know, like show these bums. Like he comes, like maybe this game is not to criticize Enzo. So why are you bringing him up then?
Because I just wanted to make.
You just said it. You just said it the first sentence.
1 second. I thought this was where we're talking about Chelsea, right?
You said the first sentence. Maybe this is not the game to criticize Enzo.
1 second.
You did
You
say
started
that.
criticizing him.
Why are
You're
you
neutral here.
bringing
You don't
him
support
up?
Chelsea. Be honest. Does Enzo Fernandez not have the best job in the Premier League where he is avoid of all criticism?
I wish I
He's
had
100
the
million
job.
Been
pounds
criticised
behind.
all season by our own fan base.
He doesn't have to do. He doesn't get blamed for being the defensive defender in the midfield. He doesn't get blamed for being the creative midfielder. He doesn't get blamed for not producing GA. He doesn't get blamed if they win or lose. He gets all the criticism when they win, and he gets no criticism when they lose. At the end of the day, this is a guy who is your best, who's supposed to be your best. You cannot carry your team.
Mushrooms.
He
There's
is a
the mushrooms.
passenger in
You
that
need to
midfield.
stop eating them.
Egal. Hold on. Just one point, David, before you come in, yeah. Enzo has literally been catching corn weekly from the fan base, bro. He's been holding it weekly, pulls from the fan base, yeah. Everyone's been getting onto him because we all know that he's been below par.
Let David out. Let David out.
Again, I just want to ask you a simple question. And I'm only going to use him as an example because of price tags. Okay, are Arsenal dramatically better this season? Yes or no?
No, we haven't been better, but we might go top of the league.
Declan Rice's fault?
What? No, Declan Rice has been our best player.
No.
But he's won us games. He produces.
No. My point is, Egal, is that you've just said you aren't better as a team, even though Declan Rice has come in as 100 mil and been your best player, right? You're not better as a team. My point is that because you have successful results, Declan Rice looks a lot better compared to Enzo. Enzo's issue is that currently he's playing in a team where the results can't back up his performances. So Enzo will have good games, but because Chelsea have lost 4-1, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And Dave, you know how
my point is that the environment Enzo's come into makes him
based on that, not even
£100 million signing than Declan Rice does. Even though I would argue Enzo Fernandez in our midfield is by far our best midfielder.
You're just proving my point.
One sec. This is why people said if Chelsea don't perform, they think Enzo will leave because they actually think that Enzo's a good player and that if Chelsea continue in this mid-table-ish form this season, next season, people actually think will push for a move. Why are they saying that? It's because he's a good player in a very poor team. So no one's saying Enzo today is alleviated of any blame, But for you to bring him up and gaslight the Chelsea fans like you do week in, week out, Reece James debate, all this crap
Would you
over
take
one
him at
day.
You want
Arsenal?
to know
Would you
something?
take
I
him
gotta
at
go. I'm
Arsenal?
gonna go watch
Hey,
my team win and go
Egal.
top of the league.
You ain't
But I'm
winning
gonna say
nothing
this:
anyway. You don't want
Enzo
nothing.
Fernandez
Brothers of
has the
Butler.
best.
Your
One
man is a
second,
Butler.
Jerry,
What's
KJ,
Arteta
clip
won?
this.
What's
Enzo
Arteta
Fernandez
won?
has the best job in the Premier League, avoid of all criticism.
And Arteta
Every
has the
single
best
time they
management
lose,
in the
it's
league
somebody
and win
else's
nothing
fault.
and get
It's not his
Exactly.
fault. He doesn't
Arteta
have
has
to
the
do
best
anything
Arteta's got the
manager.
best
in
role,
that
Egal.
game.
Fuck
And guess
off.
what? He's not
Yeah?
treated like what he is. He's supposed to be your best player. He's supposed to be a
I'm on
100
to
million
you,
pound player.
Terry. I
He's
know what
treated
Arteta's
like
to
a
be your
baby.
best manager.
I'm
He doesn't
sorry.
spoil it. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on, Gal. Thank you very much indeed. Look, we're going to get back to Chelsea in a moment. D, like, a big win today for Newcastle, though. A lot of people wrote you off. A lot of people say it wouldn't happen. But you
know
went and
what?
picked up 3 big points.
Huge 3 points. I was surprised. I thought this was going to be a draw. I was quite nervous going into the game. But then I remembered who we are and where we're playing. This is the same Chelsea that performed against City, Spurs, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And they came and performed like that was very surprising. But credit to Newcastle, deserved the win. Like you said, Lewis Miley, I think, was a standout player. 17, I don't know how old he is. I think he's 17 years old or something. He actually made his debut against his first debut start against Chelsea last season.
Came out as a sub.
Yeah. No, the last game of the season, and he hit the bar, didn't he? He came on the sub.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He came on the sub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he came out as a sub, hit the bar.
Yeah.
This is his first Premier League home start
Yeah.
for
But-
my yeah.
And what an assist as well. The
Yeah.
little, everyone was feeding for him to shoot.
Yeah.
Spread it through to Isak, who is a problem, by the way. We've missed him dramatically. But all over the pitch, I thought we were really well. You mentioned Anthony Gordon as well. I pulled my hands up. I didn't want him when he signed. I thought it was a waste of money. Took a while to settle in, and now, first name on the team sheet, is unplayable at the moment. Gave Reece James problems all game. Won the midfield battle. I was surprised with Enzo Gallagher. I think I'm surprised that Caicedo didn't start. But listen, this is a team. Not to mention, we had 3 goalkeepers on the bench, 4 youth players, and 2 pensioners. Yeah, so there was no one on that bench to change the game, and we were the better team in the first half. We edged it, but the second half we actually steamrolled them. Chelsea offered absolutely nothing, and that's a credit.
You know,
to
so mad about that as well. Yeah, you know Diallo that came on. That's my boy's little brother, in it, and my boy is a Chelsea fan, so was talking amongst ourselves. Was talking about the game and that, and he was like, "Bro, it's bittersweet. Obviously, he's my brother, but it's my team." Like,
all the kids got a little kick around it in the end, but
he's good. Diallo's good. He's gonna be a player for you, lot, man.
Yeah, but credit to Eddie Howe as well, because to get that result with the squad that we've got at the moment, with the injuries that we're carrying, amazing, and it puts it in good stead. I thought it was gonna be a lot harder than it was, to be honest. And Chelsea were poor, but Newcastle made them look poor, to be honest. Joe Linton, I think, had a very good game as well. Other than
Ramirez was good. Bruno was good, man.
Yeah. Other than the,
I will give praise to your manager. Actually, any other manager would have not started those players that come from an injury for a long time. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about towards the manager. And you have a Champions League game next
on Tuesday,
to bring up the 2 players that you have long term. This is why I was predicting Chelsea to win, because with injuries and the players that come in, the 2 players up front, they are no injury list, but he brave enough to not worry if we're gonna get injury. He put him as a start.
I think it helped that we're at home as well. It helped that we're at home as well.
Yeah.
I remember we're playing without a recognised left back as well. So on paper, it should have been a Chelsea.
Mate, listen, it was interesting watching Livramento do it. Obviously, who's ex-Chelsea. You've got Anthony Gordon, who Thomas Tuchel was desperate to sign. And it was like, we do see this with a lot of British players. Whenever they're linked to a lot of our clubs, everyone gets really angry about it. But I can see why Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea wanted him. There's a real player in him. And Steve, I assume you're as as happy as D-Man is with that win today.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna lose 2-1. I was saying it kind of everywhere. I was concerned going into the game, not because of our injuries, because I don't like using that as an excuse. That's just not a thing I do. I just thought they were in better form, but the international break happened. And so the form kind of goes out the window. If we played, let's say that Man City 4-4 game happened and we played them the following Saturday, then maybe you could have said, okay, the form, whatever. But no, we did a great job today. We had a really, really good performance. The finishing was the was the thing that's the one thing that's keeping the team from going places. And we did it today. And it's no coincidence that we keep battering teams at home. We make it difficult. Like, not everyone can just have the unluckiest things happen to them in the same season all at once. And we're scoring 4, 5, 3 against guys. So I'm really just proud of the team, happy.
I will say though, sorry, after Joe Linton missed that sitter,
I know, right?
I thought Chelsea would go on and score, and then that would be
It's usually this is what happens if you don't score, we score against you.
It was such a. I felt watching as a neutral, it was a fairly even game in the first half.
Yeah,
slightly more maybe in Newcastle's favour. The second half was just it. I know it's a cliche, but I think it fits today. It was men versus boys, and you saw that with some of the petulance. You saw that with just Chelsea lost their heads, but I think they lost their heads because Newcastle just kept on going. They were better. And it was a big learning curve for them, no doubt. We've got some super chats here I want to do. First one says, Terry, Chelsea fans need to pipe down on corners being turned. Their results will be inconsistent the entire season with all these young players.
Fact. Big fact.
See why I've been careful saying we've turned the corner, Terry? Because of things like this.
I hear you. Newcastle have always been a bogey team for us, so I just got to move on now, is what Nav says here.
A little bit.
Still not good enough. Still not good enough.
Oh.
Thoughts on City fans throwing nails onto Liverpool fans? I've heard nothing about it, but if they've done that, then they're scumbags. Reece James realized he played too many games in a row and decided to get a red card so he could be back on the sidelines. Yeah. No excuse to get battered by a club with 3 goalkeepers on the bench is what Dennis Rodman has got to say. Big up Dennis. Great player. Good movie star. Look out, Chelsea. Luton is coming is what Oral Campbell's got to say.
That's
breaking news. Team GB scouts have inquired about Conor Gallagher's availability ahead of Paris 2024. He's currently being identified as a 200-meter specialist.
Is that because he just runs around?
Yeah, he's running.
Must be that. Yeah, but I think so. But I don't think he's not quick enough, is he? Just realised Chelsea next have a very tough set of away games: Anfield, Etihad, Emirates. They are screwed. I mean, listen, they go into the next game is Brighton, who won today, and they got a red card. Have you got any recognised fullbacks for that game?
We're gonna have Gusto, and it'll probably be Levi. Gusto and Levi probably.
Cole will.
Fair enough. Alex, you need to apologize to Mo for running your mouth yesterday on his YouTube channel. I don't want to hear it.
I saw
that. You get predictions wrong. What's the big deal?
I said choose 0. I didn't. You told me you have 10 injuries. I didn't think you have a full squad.
SK here says we couldn't beat them when they weren't champions. With Cisse doing us, it happens all the time. I don't know why this happens against Newcastle, but somehow it does. I remember that Cisse. That Cisse goal was a madness. I'm just thinking that volley. Oh my days. I can't wait for the excuses for Enzo today. It's always somebody else's fault as to why he can't perform consistently, is what Babukar says here.
It doesn't matter how Enzo plays; they'll forever come with the same script. They'll say,
just quickly, you know that Gallagher's stats are better than Declan Rice.
No. Yeah, they are.
That's crazy. Egal was right. What happened to you blitzing them?
But in Alex's defense, I saw him on a podcast and he said he's more worried about Chelsea than he's Newcastle because he didn't know what Chelsea's going to turn up. So I give you credit for that because that Chelsea that turned up was absolute garbage. Like,
Egal, don't say anything you'll jinx our game. Get out. Yeah, I do get you on that, Stephen. The superior James was at home today. I like that. Disappointed in James, proved he's immaturity, not captain material, and now he's suspended versus Brighton. It was our experienced players who let us down, though. I mean,
quick point,
that's a fact. That's
quick point on that. When I was watching the game and Trippier got his yellow in the 20th minute, I was doing a watch on one of my guys, and he was saying, "Oh, Trippier's on a yellow. I want Sterling run at him." And I'm like, I'm not worried. Because Trippier has the discipline, even though he's on a yellow early in the game. I know we won't get exactly. I'm not saying he's immature, but like he's just Trippier is one of those guys where he's just been there, done that. So,
Opta produced. Do you remember when not Bruno? Do you remember when Fred got sent off for Man United in the Champions League and everyone moaned that the manager didn't take him up at half time? Sky Sports and Opta produced. Yeah, I think it was produced a stat that no, it was PSG we played. It was in the group stages, and Sky Sports and Opta produced a stat which shows players in European football that get booked in the first half, what percentage actually end up getting sent off in the second. It's like 97% don't get sent off. So it's when someone does, you should be criticizing them because the vast majority don't. So I agree. This year is pathetic. Don using 1/2 stats only to prove a point. Please tell me what the difference between Enzo and Havertz is.
Don't do that to yourself because I specifically spoke.
6 months in the Premier League and 4 years in the Premier League.
I'm never going to answer.
Seriously,
I'm about to say, don't even answer, Alex.
I'm never going to answer that. But I used the first half stats because I specifically said Enzo was good.
Go read some books.
I specifically said Enzo was good in the first half, and I used the
stats
to back it up.
I'll send you your money back. Your book. Read about football.
Enzo is a controller, just like De Jong. Price tag does not matter. His role ain't to get goals or assists. Forget price tag. I am not even a Chelsea fan, but he's class. He walked into the Arsenal midfield, is what Daniel Luiz says. Does the panel think my big fat round birds should start for Chelsea? He has big parrots. That's what they are. Yes. Not gonna lie, Egal Loki cooked us Chelsea fans.
That's what Terry brings him.
He didn't cook anything. He didn't cook anything.
It goes in the group. It goes in the group chat. It's what it is. It's what you guys are welcome to come on Arsenal streams. It goes in the group chat. It's just the same thing. True Blue here says this ain't gonna get any better anytime soon. This score wasn't a surprise to me. As soon as Silva made the error, heads dropped. Love Silva, but I do believe his time is up. Conor Gallagher, not good enough. True Blue, I appreciate that comment there. I want to thank everyone that's tuned into the show today. We are live again after Brentford versus Arsenal. Could be a new team top of the Premier League table. So make sure you tune in then. I want to thank Don, Ches, Steve, D-Man, Alex, Egal, and David that have all been on tonight, and my viewers and all the super chatters. It means a great deal to us here. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon.